the father of heavy metal and the Prince of Darkness. Ozzy Osbourne has passed away at the age of 76. In the world of rock music, few names have had as much influence as Ozzy. He wasn't just a musical icon, but a legend beloved and respected worldwide. However, in the final weeks of Ozzy's life, things were not as we might imagine for such a star. During that time, the man known as the Prince of Darkness was no longer concerned with fame or notoriety. Instead, Ozzy's mind was focused on one deeply personal thing, a final wish that only his wife Sharon could help fulfill. This wasn't just any wish, but a special one so important that it shaped his final days and gave him a sense of peace. If Ozzy Osbourne's legacy has ever touched you, made you laugh, reflect, or inspired, you show your gratitude by hitting like and subscribing to the channel so you don't miss the next fascinating stories. Leave a comment with a 1 if you resonate with Ozzy Osbourne, or a 0 if you feel differently. Now, without further ado, let's dive into this touching story and discover what brought Ozzy peace in the final moments of his life. Weeks later, Ozzy Osbourne passed away, leaving behind a monumental musical legacy, a life of chaos, and a farewell that broke the world's heart. With his death, the final curtain fell on the life of a legend. Ozzy Osbourne's final months were marked by a quiet awareness of the fleeting nature of time. After decades of living with Parkinson's disease, Ozzy's health had noticeably declined, and he began to realize his remaining time was short. But through it all, Sharon Osbourne, who had been by his side through the most turbulent years, was always the first to recognize the gravity of her husband's condition. She was not just his wife, but his friend and singular support system, facing with him the difficult days that not everyone saw. Sharon understood what was happening and did everything she could to ensure Ozzy had the most peaceful moments possible in his final days. The final chapter of Ozzy Osbourne was a story not just of loss, but a testament to Sharon's efforts to preserve the beautiful memories they had built together. She not only faced the pain of watching her partner weaken, but also became the one to ensure Ozzy's wishes were fulfilled. Sharon demonstrated her resilience and unconditional love as she stood by Ozzy's side, navigating the arduous days while preparing for the farewell they both knew was coming. Although Ozzy no longer had the strength to do the things he loved, his final moments were lived to the fullest, surrounded by loved ones and enveloped in Sharon's affection. The final chapter of Ozzy Osbourne was not merely the end of a great life, but an affirmation of the love, sacrifice, and musical legacy he left behind. Parkinson's is an uncontrollably progressive disease, and it affected many parts of Ozzy's body, particularly his legs, as Sharon had shared in a previous interview. Although Ozzy's health situation was clear, and everyone knew his condition would not improve, witnessing someone who once had such a powerful stage presence become so frail was still incredibly difficult. What was remarkable, however, was that even as his body weakened, Ozzy maintained his mental strength. Those closest to him described him as an intelligent man who never lost his sense of humor, always making those around him feel close and warm despite his health. He continued to tell jokes and make witty remarks, putting those beside him at ease, even as everything around them grew more difficult. Despite his weakened body, Ozzy's voice, the very thing that made him a music legend, remained untouched by the cruel disease. Fans who had admired Ozzy for years described his voice as still ringing with its characteristic resilience and power, a testament to the incredible talent he had shared with fans for decades. Though his physical self was not what it once was, that voice remained as captivating, powerful, and emotional as ever, leaving fans enthralled and ensuring he would never be forgotten. This was the clearest proof of the immortal musical talent and legacy of Ozzy Osbourne, a legend who will live forever in the hearts of music lovers, transcending all challenges of time. It was a strange dichotomy, a man physically weakened yet emotionally and spiritually sustained by something greater than himself. Even as his body succumbed to Parkinson's, Ozzy found an inner strength to face the final challenges of his life. Family members noticed a shift in his perspective during his final weeks. Ozzy became quieter and more reflective, as if each passing day was a journey into his past. His conversations with Sharon centered mainly on memories of his past, the wild days with Black Sabbath, a hugely successful solo career, and a family life filled with ups and downs, but also immense love. If anyone had a wild life to look back on, it was Ozzy Osbourne. As he faced his limited time, he spent much of it reflecting on what had been, while also speaking of the future, or more precisely, the few months he had left. Sharon had hinted at those conversations, sharing that Ozzy had confided in her about incredibly important things he needed to accomplish before he could truly let go. These words were not just a reflection of his final desires, but the signs of a man who wanted to end his life with a sense of completion and peace. Whatever it was, Sharon affirmed she had made it her mission to ensure it would happen. For Sharon, it was more than just caregiving. It was a spiritual commitment to fulfill Ozzy's final wishes so he could pass on with peace of mind. In those final weeks, Sharon was not just a loving wife, but also his supporter in every moment, protecting the legacy Ozzy had built throughout his life. It wasn't a superficial request, but a deeply private final wish, a desire that Sharon would carry on her shoulders as his wife, partner, and manager. This wish was no small thing, but a heavy responsibility, a plea that Sharon committed to fulfilling with all her love and dedication. For the fans, the news of Ozzy's passing on July 22nd was a massive shock, marking the end of a music legend. However, for those closest to him, it was not just sadness, but a bittersweet comfort. Ozzy didn't just silently leave this world. He departed with intention on his own terms, not a quiet fading away, but a complete ending, having accomplished what he set out to do. In his final moments, Sharon was always by his side, ensuring that Ozzy's last days were lived exactly as he wished. With resilience and boundless love, Sharon was not just a devoted wife, but the sole companion who helped Ozzy fulfill his final wish. Ozzy's final days were a combination of love and protection, of fulfilling his desires and preparing for his departure. And when Ozzy passed away, it wasn't a meaningless end, but a departure that was meaningful, full, and complete, just as he had chosen. Ozzy Osbourne's final wish was heartbreaking, but it was carried out in true Ozzy style, with the determination and respect for everything he had built throughout his life. And the woman who had been by his side for over 40 years, Sharon Osbourne, helped make that a reality. The Osbournes' relationship was more than just a marriage. It was an enduring partnership that had weathered every public scandal, personal dispute, and the relentless pressure of global fame. Sharon was not only his wife, but also his companion manager, and the person who always stood by Ozzy in every crucial moment of his life, especially as he faced the greatest challenges in his final years. Through the ups and downs of their careers and personal lives, Sharon has shown unconditional love and devotion. They have faced many difficult times together, from struggles with addiction to the turbulent phases of Ozzy's career. But it is precisely during these moments that their love has risen stronger, becoming a testament to a relationship built on perseverance, understanding, and mutual respect. The bond of the Osbourne family is a perfect example of how to overcome life's challenges with each trial, only strengthening the love and understanding between them. Sharon is not only Ozzy's wife, but she is also his manager soulmate, and in many ways, the one who has kept him grounded during tough times. Her connection with Ozzy is not just based on love, but also on unwavering support and loyalty. The couple first met in the late 1970s when Sharon's father, Don Ardon, was managing the band Black Sabbath. Sharon, a strong, intelligent, and charismatic woman, immediately formed a special connection with Ozzy. Their relationship began not only with romance, but with deep understanding and empathy. Sharon was not just a devoted wife, but also the person who helped Ozzy face the challenges in his career, particularly during the difficult years when he battled addiction and personal issues. In 1982, Sharon and Ozzy officially married, marking a significant milestone in their lives. This relationship, despite enduring countless trials and challenges, has remained strong and only grown more powerful over time. Their relationship has become one of the iconic symbols of love in the rock music world, with continuous commitment and sacrifice. Together, they have overcome all obstacles from Ozzy's career crises to personal challenges. This bond has become their source of strength, helping them stand firm against the pressures of global fame and the complexities of rock star life. Sharon and Ozzy's relationship is not just a famous marriage, but also a testament to enduring love and commitment through all circumstances, regardless of the difficulties they faced. Throughout his struggles with addiction challenges that were fully documented in Ozzy's career, Sharon remained by his side as a companion and a steady source of support, ensuring that Ozzy's career and life didn't completely fall apart. During the most difficult years when Ozzy was battling personal issues and addiction, Sharon was the one person who stood unwaveringly by him. Even in the darkest times, she remained steadfast, patiently supporting and encouraging Ozzy to overcome those harsh challenges. She was not just a wife beside him, but also the one who helped Ozzy maintain his career and strength, preventing him from falling into the depths that many other stars had not been able to escape from. In the decades that followed, Sharon became not only a devoted wife, but also a public figure in her own right. From managing Ozzy's solo career to collaborating on the MTV reality show, The Osbournes, Sharon was involved in every aspect of Ozzy's professional and personal life. The show gave a true and candid look at the Osbourne family, and Sharon proved her resilience by crafting an image of a family that was not only humorous, but also deeply warm in the eyes of their fans. She didn't just manage the career, but also protected the family's private moments, ensuring that despite the noisy world outside, they maintained their bond and love. The Osbournes brought the family a new wave of fans, those who might not have been Ozzy's music fans, but were drawn to his relatable humor and the chaotic charm of each episode. The show offered more than just funny moments from Ozzy's family life. It gave audiences a completely different side of him, an Ozzy who was approachable with vulnerabilities and thoughts just like anyone else. The relationship between Ozzy and Sharon, along with their children, became a highlight of the show, showcasing how the family navigated challenges with empathy, love, and plenty of laughs. While not everyone loved Ozzy's music, the Osbournes helped him win the hearts of a much broader audience, those who found themselves reflected in the chaotic yet touching moments of this family. However, that bond grew even more profound as Ozzy's health declined. In 2003, Ozzy was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, an illness he kept private for many years until 2020. It was a tremendous challenge, not only for Ozzy, but for his family as well. Throughout those years, Ozzy faced countless difficulties, from physical pain to the struggle of accepting an unchangeable reality. Despite being a powerful man and an icon of strength on stage, Ozzy had to endure the changes in his body and mind, with Sharon and his family serving as his greatest source of encouragement to continue fighting the disease. Sharon, who publicly shared the hardships of witnessing the disease's progression, shouldered much of the emotional and logistical burden during those difficult years. She was not just a devoted wife, but also a steadfast pillar of strength, always there for Ozzy when he needed her most. Sharon was the first to realize that their days on the road, the vibrant tours, and the special moments on stage were over forever. After a long journey of overcoming every challenge together, Sharon understood that their lives needed to change. "I've been doing this since I was 15, and now I'm done. We just want to live our lives, do what we want to do, and not be on a schedule anymore," she shared in an interview with Billboard before Ozzy's passing. Sharon had hinted in interviews that Ozzy had shared with her something incredibly important he wanted to do before he passed away. Although she kept the details private, it was clear she was determined to fulfill Ozzy's final wish, ensuring his desires would be accomplished even in his last days. Ozzy's final weeks were not just a preparation for farewell, but a combination of ensuring his family had precious moments with him and protecting the legacy he had built throughout his life. Sharon did everything to keep the family close so that Ozzy could pass away in peace, knowing his memories and legacy would be remembered forever. The legacy of the Prince of Darkness born John Michael Osbourne on December 3, 1948 in Aston, Birmingham, is a captivating story of a powerful ascent and a revolution in music. From a poor working-class family, Ozzy Osbourne overcame countless challenges to become a global superstar, helping to change the face of rock music forever. His journey is not just a story of personal success, but also a symbol of strength and perseverance in the arts. In 1968, Ozzy, along with the members of Black Sabbath, founded a new musical genre, heavy metal, delivering heavy, dark riffs and haunting lyrics. This marked the beginning of a revolution in the music scene, as Black Sabbath laid the foundation for a genre that would later flourish and profoundly influence many generations of artists. Black Sabbath's debut album, released in 1970, featured legendary songs like Paranoid, Iron Man, and War Pigs. These tracks not only changed the landscape of rock music, but also established Black Sabbath as a leading name in the industry. Their music, with its powerful melodies and profound lyrics, reflected the conflicts, anxieties, and instability of the era, making them indispensable icons in rock culture. Songs like Paranoid became essential staples in the musical catalog of later generations, and Ozzy Osbourne, with his mesmerizing voice and distinctive performance style, truly became the icon of a new musical genre and a legend in the hearts of fans worldwide. With an impressive solo career and classic songs like Crazy Train, Ozzy Osbourne proved himself to be one of the greatest rock vocalists in music history. Crazy Train, with its signature guitar riffs and Ozzy's powerful vocals, not only became a timeless anthem in the world of rock, but also a symbol of his resilience and limitless talent. However, Ozzy's success didn't stop at music. With the MTV show The Osbournes, Ozzy reached a new audience, expanding his influence and establishing his family as a cultural icon. The show not only allowed the public to see a different side of Ozzy, approachable and humorous, but also highlighted his special relationship with Sharon and their children, making the Osbourne family an indispensable part of global pop culture. Despite receiving countless accolades throughout his career, including being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and having a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Ozzy Osbourne will forever remain one of the greatest legends in music history. His musical legacy is not only contained within his songs and albums, but also in the profound influence he has left on future generations of musicians. Every time he steps on stage, every time his voice rings out, Ozzy reaffirms himself as an immortal icon, a rock legend that no one can replace. For this, he needed Sharon's help. There was only one city that could give Ozzy the fitting farewell he deserved: Birmingham, the place where he grew up, and where his life changed forever. This city was preparing for a proper goodbye. For Ozzy Osbourne, Birmingham was not just his birthplace, but an integral part of his identity. This industrial city, the birthplace of Black Sabbath, had long been regarded as the home of metal music, and no one embodied that title more than its most famous son. For Ozzy, this was not only the starting point, but an inseparable part of his life story, where his music and the tales of his transformation began to spread worldwide. In the months leading up to July 2025, Birmingham transformed to honor Black Sabbath and their legendary frontman, Ozzy Osbourne. The local government announced the Summer of Sabbath event, a citywide celebration to recognize Black Sabbath's undeniable impact on music and global culture. This event was a profound tribute from the city to one of the greatest bands of all time. Art installations, concerts, and inaugurations were held, all focused on the contributions Black Sabbath and especially Ozzy Osbourne had made. The city bestowed its highest honors to acknowledge what the band had given to Birmingham, while also solidifying their place in the annals of world music history. Among these honors, the 4 original members of Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne, Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, and Bill Ward, were given the freedom of the city of Birmingham, a city that has become an inseparable part of their musical journey. To celebrate their careers, the city renamed a bridge in the band's honor, a lasting symbol of the impact they left behind. Additionally, a commemorative bench was unveiled, and most notably, a massive mural of Ozzy Osbourne was painted at the end of Villa Park Stadium. This is the place where not only football fans but also heavy metal lovers gathered to be part of an unforgettable night. That night was not just an event to remember Ozzy and Black Sabbath, but also an opportunity for the city of Birmingham to take pride in the musical legacy the band had brought to the world. This return was not just a musical event, it was an emotional reunion. The event became a special and unforgettable experience for fans from all over. A fan from the US couldn't hide their excitement when they shared meeting Ozzy at his hometown was truly a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Comments like these highlight how extraordinary this concert was, as it wasn't just about the music, it was also about the connection between the artist and the fans, a deep bond built over many years. You can feel the history in the air. This wasn't just a fan's words, but a shared sentiment from everyone present at this historic event. Even those who had followed Ozzy's career from afar could sense that something special was happening, an event marked by both the past and the future. International media quickly recognized the unique scale of this event. With a star-studded lineup featuring some of the biggest names in rock and metal, a stadium packed with 40,000 passionate fans, and an estimated live audience pushing the total viewership to millions, this concert was undoubtedly an event with undeniable global influence. Even before Ozzy passed away, tributes had already begun to resonate, partly because of his indelible achievements, and partly because of his importance in shaping the rock and metal scenes. Ozzy's image, not just as an artist but as an icon, had become a guiding torch for future generations. His peers, who had journeyed with him through many ups and downs, could not hide their sorrow at his passing. Tributes came not only from close friends, but also from major names in the industry who had been inspired by Ozzy's music and lifestyle. Without a doubt, the legend of Ozzy Osbourne will live on forever in the minds of those who love music. Musicians, collaborators, and figures throughout the music industry were well aware of the immense influence Ozzy Osbourne had built over his career. His career had spanned glorious decades, and now his time on stage and on earth was coming to a close. A powerful sense of loss spread through the music community as they realized a true legend was about to depart. Ozzy was not just an outstanding artist, but an icon who had transformed both the rock and metal landscapes, a man of immeasurable influence. Sir Elton John, one of Ozzy's close friends, was among the first to publicly express his feelings after his passing. In his tribute, Elton John did not hide his emotion. He was a dear friend and a great pioneer who cemented his place in the pantheon of rock gods, a true legend. These words not only showed admiration, but also acknowledged the legendary status Ozzy had achieved in the music industry. His passing is a great loss not just for his family and friends, but for the entire musical culture he helped build. What are your thoughts on the legendary legacy of Ozzy Osbourne and the impact he has had on the rock music world? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to stay updated with more inspiring stories about the legends who changed the world. He was also one of the funniest people I have ever met. I will miss him dearly. These words from Sir Rod Stewart were not just an expression of loss from a close friend, but also a show of deep respect for Ozzy Osbourne. For those who had followed and worked with Ozzy, he was not only a music legend, but also an approachable person full of laughter. Rod Stewart, a longtime companion in the music industry, shared his feelings with a moving farewell. "Farewell, Ozzy. Sleep well, my friend. See you on the other side." These words were not just a tribute, but an expression of the boundless sorrow of a friend, parting with a companion of many years. The sense of loss wasn't limited to Rod Stewart. Many other artists from various musical genres acknowledged Ozzy's profound impact on their careers. One of them was Ronnie Wood of the Rolling Stones, who described Ozzy as a true legend of Birmingham, not just in music, but in shaping and defining the city's musical culture. Ronnie Wood praised Ozzy's ability to create and influence the culture we witness today. This praise was not just a recognition of Ozzy's great musical talent, but also a reflection of the deep respect for his immense contributions to building the cultural and musical foundation for future generations. Ozzy left an indelible mark not only in the hearts of music lovers, but also among his colleagues and close friends. Metallica, one of the bands that performed at the Villa Park concert, honored Ozzy Osbourne in a way that was simple, yet touched the hearts of millions of fans. A photo of the band with Ozzy accompanied by a broken heart emoji was a symbol of their sorrow and deep respect for a legend. Though it was just a simple post, this tribute not only expressed admiration, but also reflected a deep understanding of Ozzy's influence on rock and metal. Metallica, one of the titans of the genre, used an image and a symbol to recognize a pioneer who changed the face of an entire category of music and left an unforgettable legacy. Ozzy Osbourne, with his monumental contributions, was not just a big name, but a living icon of rock music. For more than 5 decades, he relentlessly created and dedicated himself, helping to build and develop a genre with global influence. The tributes from Metallica and other artists are an affirmation of Ozzy's pioneering status in the music industry, a man whose influence and value will continue to live on in the hearts of fans and future generations of artists. Though he is gone, what he left behind in music and culture will endure forever. Ozzy Osbourne's collaborations spanned generations, from classic rock icons to modern metal bands, and his influence was not limited to music, but extended into the broader culture. Every generation of artists carries Ozzy's mark, that of a pioneer who changed how we understand rock and metal. His final weeks were not just a time for fans and the music community to share their grief, but also a clear realization that they were witnessing the end of a great chapter in music history. The music industry, though in mourning, could not deny the invaluable contribution that Ozzy had made. In interviews, Sharon hinted that Ozzy had shared something incredibly private with her, a request she promised to fulfill. "He wanted me to do something for him that only I could do," she said, though she did not reveal further details. These words highlight the significance of Sharon's role during Ozzy's final weeks. Sharon was not only his caregiver, but also the one entrusted with carrying out his final wishes, someone who understood the deep importance of what Ozzy had asked of her. Friends and family later recounted that Sharon Osbourne remained intensely focused during this time, mobilizing every resource and quietly working behind the scenes to ensure that Ozzy's wishes were fulfilled. Despite the heart-wrenching circumstances, Sharon remained resilient, dedicated to caring for Ozzy, not only physically but also emotionally, ensuring that his every wish was carried out in full. Her sacrifice and devotion in these final days demonstrated that the love and bond they shared were not just between two people, but a unified family filled with love and deep understanding. In the final days of Ozzy's life, the Osbourne family gathered around their father. Their children, Kelly, Jack, Amy, and Ozzy's two older children, Jessica and Louie, visited frequently, understanding the significance of these final moments. These were sacred moments where the entire family came together to share love and closeness, cherishing every precious second spent with each other. Ozzy, who had once opened the door to his chaotic family life through the Osbournes, now experienced a quieter, more private family life, far from the public eye. His last days were not just about a simple life, but a special time where the family expressed unconditional love and deep respect for the man they cherished. Publicly, very few people knew what was happening behind closed doors. All eyes saw was an Ozzy whose health had significantly weakened a man who had faced many challenges in his final days. However, what the world didn't see were the quiet preparations, the deeply emotional private conversations, and the burden Sharon had to bear as she prepared for what would become the decisive turning point in the final chapter of Ozzy's life. This was not a story about fame, money, or headlines. It wasn't what the media or the public was looking for. In truth, this was a story of love, sacrifice, and a profound preparation for the departure of the man she loved. The way Ozzy left this world remained true to the person he always was, resilient, strong, and full of character. Sharon understood this better than anyone because she was the one who accompanied Ozzy through every difficult moment. Ozzy did not want to become the man with Parkinson's. He didn't want his image to be that of Ozzy in a wheelchair, weak and frail. For his final act, Ozzy wished only to live and to leave as the Prince of Darkness, a symbol of strength and an indomitable spirit, not an image of decline in the face of illness. This prayer was not just a wish, but something Ozzy wanted to engrave in the memories of his fans and loved ones. Although Sharon kept the details of Ozzy's final wish private, she did not hesitate to make it clear that she would stop at nothing to ensure his wish became a reality. Sharon pledged that she would do everything possible for Ozzy to pass away with the dignity he deserved, not as a weakened man, but as a legend who stood tall, free, and powerful until the very end. This not only showed the deep love Sharon had for Ozzy, but also served as an affirmation that sometimes the ultimate respect for a loved one lies not just in physical care, but in honoring the wishes and dignity they built throughout their lives. In a heartbreaking revelation, Ozzy Osbourne's final wish was not to quietly retreat from the public eye, but to return to where everything began, Birmingham, for one last performance. A truly profound wish. It was not just to show his love for music, but also a desire to reconnect with his roots, with the place that nurtured and shaped him. Sharon, his wife, who had been by his side throughout the journey, revealed that Ozzy's greatest desire in his final weeks was to stand on stage in his hometown one last time. This wish was not just to honor his career, but to make a final connection with his close friends, loyal fans, and all those who had supported him throughout his life. Surrounded by his bandmates and the fans who had shaped his career, Ozzy longed to feel their warmth and love in this final moment. This was not just a concert. It was a celebration of everything Ozzy had contributed to music and to the rock community. Sharon knew that fulfilling this wish was no easy task, but she understood that this was the way Ozzy wanted to close this chapter of his life, an ending full of meaning, completeness, and authenticity to the person he was. On July 5, 2025, Ozzy Osbourne's final wish became a reality. Sharon organized a concert titled Back to the Beginning at Villa Park, turning the home stadium of Aston Villa Football Club into a sacred place for heavy metal music. The concert was not only an opportunity to honor Ozzy's illustrious career, but also a special moment reuniting Ozzy with his Black Sabbath bandmates, Tony Iommi Geezer Butler and Bill Ward, for the first time in 20 years. This was not just a reunion after a long period of separation, but also an emotional farewell, a final song from the men who had shaped rock music history. The event on July 5th at Villa Park, later recognized as Ozzy's final performance, ignited waves of admiration from all corners of the music world. 40,000 fans packed Villa Park to witness this moment, with millions more watching via live streams. It was a concert of unimaginable influence, creating a legendary moment many described as a once-in-a-lifetime experience. With each note, each lyric, Ozzy and his bandmates recreated a monumental chapter of rock music, leaving an indelible mark on the world. Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Slayer, and Anthrax all took the stage as supporting artists, expressing their deep respect for Ozzy Osbourne, the man who helped shape the heavy metal genre. These legendary bands were not only industry friends, but also individuals who had been profoundly influenced by Ozzy's monumental career. Together, they created an emotionally charged musical atmosphere where each note and melody reflected their respect for the man who had had such a broad influence on them. The only place we could do this is Aston, because that's where Ozzy was born and raised, Sharon shared. Her words were not just an introduction to the venue, but also an affirmation of Ozzy's deep love and connection to his hometown. Sharon also revealed that from the moment she began planning the concert, she had thought of inviting all the bands Ozzy had ever collaborated with to perform so they could sing the famous songs of Black Sabbath and Ozzy's own musical works. It became a music festival, Sharon said, showing the importance of this performance not only to Ozzy, but to the entire metal-loving community. This event was more than a concert. It was a celebration of music history where artists came together in a vibrant festival to remember and affirm the legacy of a legend. When Ozzy appeared seated on a black throne in the center of the stage, the roar from the crowd was deafening. For many, that image was truly striking and unforgettable. A man whose body had been ravaged by illness, yet whose presence was larger than life, an unbeatable icon. He sat there like a king of rock, a living legend embodying a resilience and an indomitable spirit that no one could deny. People saw not just an artist, but a myth coming to life in every moment. When he spoke opening the show with the choked-up words, "Mum, I'm home," his voice trembled with emotion. Though no one realized it then, this was the final moment Ozzy would come home to the place where he had started it all. After that moment, Ozzy regained his characteristic strength and launched into the familiar vocals of Crazy Train. Music was not just life, it was Ozzy's very breath in that moment. "You have no idea how I feel. Thank you from the bottom of my heart." He told the crowd, his words full of emotion and gratitude. Those words were met with thundering applause from the 40,000 fans present at Villa Park. This was not just a concert, but a festival of love, honor, and appreciation for a legend. Ozzy proved that although his body was weak, his spirit and influence would live on forever in the hearts of those who loved him. Black Sabbath's setlist for the concert was inspired by their early classics, the tracks that had become indispensable symbols of their career: War Pigs, Iron Man, Paranoid. These songs were not just musical works, but inseparable parts of rock's musical heritage. Although the performance was brief, it still carried a sense of finality, an emotional conclusion where every melody evoked memories of the long journey the band had undertaken. Fireworks lit up the night sky, creating a mystical and romantic backdrop as the band took their final bow, sending an emotional farewell to a career that had spanned more than half a century. This was more than a concert. It was a festival of memory and love for music. Although the concert was organized as a charity fundraiser, raising $189 million, the true purpose of the event was far more personal. For Ozzy, this was not just an occasion to celebrate his illustrious career, but also a chance to express his deep gratitude to those who had accompanied him on his long journey. Despite all the adoration and admiration from the audience and the music community, this concert was Ozzy's own personal journey, a journey to say goodbye to feel the final moments of his remarkable career and life. This was Ozzy's farewell, the final wish he had kept in his heart throughout his last years. Ozzy had known for a long time that his life wouldn't last much longer, and rather than feeling fear or despair, it only fueled his determination to fulfill his greatest dream, to leave this world the way he had always imagined. Not quietly, not in the shadows of illness or weakness, but in a grand performance, singing and playing music on stage before the fans who had shared in his glorious moments. This was the request he had made to Sharon, his life partner, who had stood by him through all the ups and downs. His only wish was to have one final performance, one last bow on stage, the place where everything had begun, where music had shaped his life. Sharon brought Ozzy back home, surrounded by the people and music that had shaped his life. In that emotional moment, she tearfully revealed, "He wanted me to remind him of his true self." This statement not only reflects Sharon's deep love for Ozzy, but also a promise she had kept faithfully helping Ozzy end his life in honor and dignity. Ozzy, who had dedicated his entire life to bringing music and emotion to the world, now returned to his roots, to the place where everything began. In every sense, it was a perfect farewell, closing a magnificent era of rock music and the final chapter of a legend's life. On July 22, 2025, just 17 days after his final performance, Ozzy Osbourne passed away at the age of 76. His family, in a heartfelt statement, announced his passing. This was a loss not only for Ozzy's family, but for the entire music world, as a legend left us leaving an irreplaceable void in the hearts of those who loved him. Yet Ozzy will live on forever in his music, in the timeless melodies he created, and in the memories he left behind for all who witnessed the life and career of his legendary journey. With immeasurable sadness, our family is heartbroken to announce that our beloved Ozzy Osbourne passed away this morning. He has returned to his family surrounded by boundless love. Ozzy's passing leaves a void that cannot be filled, but he left us peacefully surrounded by his loved ones. Tributes have poured in from around the world, expressing the respect and affection people have for him. From his loyal fans to his peers in the music industry, everyone shares the same sense of loss and admiration for a legend. Ronnie Wood, a member of the Rolling Stones, described Ozzy as the undefeated king of heavy metal, a well-deserved compliment for someone who reshaped the entire face of the genre. Sir Elton John, a close friend of Ozzy, was visibly moved as he called him a true legend and a friend he would always cherish. These words reflect the deep respect and love that top artists in the music industry have for Ozzy, who was not only a legend but also a loyal and sincere friend throughout many years. Tony Iommi, a member of Black Sabbath and also a close friend of Ozzy, mourned the loss of his bandmate and dear friend. He shared with sadness, "I can't believe it. My dear friend Ozzy passed away just weeks after our show at Villa Park," he wrote. "This is heartbreaking, and I can't express it in words. No one will ever be like him. Geezer Bill and I have lost our brother." Ozzy's passing completely changed the meaning of the Villa Park concert, an event that had once been seen as a grand gathering of the biggest names in rock music. After Ozzy's passing, this concert became not just a symbol of his career, but also a profound farewell from the friends and colleagues who helped write the golden pages of music history. It was not just a fundraising concert or a reunion, but the final chapter of an extraordinary life. That concert became a legendary moment where Ozzy Osbourne not only said goodbye to his fans, but also to the city and the legacy he had built over more than half a century. Ozzy's final wish had come true, a complete farewell that allowed him to leave in his own way, deeply personal and emotional. Sharon, his lifelong partner who had stood by him through all the highs and lows, made sure that Ozzy's wish was fully realized, enabling him to depart with honor and love. Ozzy Osbourne leaves behind Sharon, his wife, along with their children Kelly, Jack, and Amy, along with Jessica and Louis from his first marriage. He also leaves behind several grandchildren who will carry on his legacy. Though Ozzy has passed, his family and those who loved him will continue to carry the monumental music legacy he created. Ozzy dedicated his entire life to music, and future generations will forever remember him as an irreplaceable legend in the history of rock and heavy metal. Ozzy's music, his influence, and his final farewell performance in Birmingham will forever be etched in music history. It was a remarkable moment, a triumphant final show where Ozzy said goodbye in a way only he could. Do you think this was the perfect way for the Australian singer to close the legendary chapter of his life? If Ozzy Osbourne's story inspires you and touches your heart, don't forget to leave a comment with a 1 or a 0 if you feel differently. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss more fascinating stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.